+1/+1 counter. And that's its only effect, but there's another really important part about it, and that is it counts as a power cell, because there's a lot of synergy with the set about that.
And that was something that I think a lot of people didn't realize right away.
Yeah.
And they just read it and they were like, oh.
A buff counter?
Yeah, this seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is itself a power cell, obviously it doesn't work like the power cell tokens. It doesn't have the same effect, but it is in its card text and its typing a power cell, which after actually getting to see the set, we see there is a lot of synergy going on.
Yeah, I at first was going to give it like a 0 out of 5 when I didn't understand how good the power cell typing is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump right into my rating, actually. So GCR has been a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Quicksilver Grail was a 2 out of 5, which we got a lot of memeing for giving it that rating, and then ended up being exactly accurate. Spectrometer, we gave a 1 out of 5. At least I gave a 1 out of 5. I kind of still stick by that. Maybe it gets better one day, but still definitely the worst one so far. And then this one, I'm not going to give a 5. I'm not going to give 1. I'm not going to give it 2. I am going to give it a 3.
Whoa.
So it is a little...
Dear Diary, how are you? I'm fine. It's me, Dan. I watched it again today. The True Champion video. I just can't agree with the ranking. I'm obsessing over it. Taylor keeps telling me to post the podcast, but I need to watch it again. I just don't know what kind of Divine Relic would change their mind. What could be better than Temporal Spectrometer? 3 free cards.
It's spoiler time. What's up, everyone? It's Dan with Main Deck, and welcome to our spoiler video kicking off spoiler season for the next great Grand Archive set, Mortal Ambition. Mortal Ambition is releasing on October 11th, 2024, and is set in the realm of Sangwo, which is sort of an Asian-inspired realm, and has 2 extremely cool-looking new champions, Jin and Kongming, and we're going to have a ton of incredible spoilers to see very soon, showing off all the new mechanics and cards and beautiful artwork in this new set. But let's start today by showing you guys 3 new cards, including, at the end of this video, the Divine Relic of the set, so you're not going to want to miss it. But let's start a little bit more laid back with some really neat water cards. The first card we're going to be talking about is Hoarfrost Spine. This is a new 2-cost weapon ranger bow, but hang on a second, look at that cost. That cost is yellow. This is actually a main deck card, not a material deck card. That's a yellow reserve cost. So you're going to play this weapon from your deck. It is a 1 power, 3 durability bow. Bows are apparently a lot like guns. They must be loaded to use for an attack and can't be used with an attack card. And this has on enter, look at the top card of your deck, you may put that card into your graveyard. There's no class bonus anywhere on this card. Of course, that's kind of often the case, and you need some sort of, it looks like some sort of arrow or something to load it up with. But then once you load it up, you can use it as an attack a few times. And the neat thing about this is the on enter to look at the top card of your deck and put that in your graveyard. Of course, in water, we have access to all sorts of floating memory cards that we're going to be looking for when we play this. So that does make this card a little bit like playing a deep sea fractal, where we're going to play it and get that immediate mill and hope to hit a floating memory with it. But instead of getting a reservable thing, we're going to get a bow that we can use as a weapon and start attacking things. Now, what good is a bow without an arrow? And we have an interesting one for you guys. Let's look at our next card. This is Seafletched Serpent. Seafletched Serpent is an ally ranger tamer beast serpent that is a 3-cost 3/3 with pride 2. So it's not going to be able to attack until you're level 2. And then it has this class bonus for ranger or tamer, which is on hit, you can load the serpent into target unloaded bow weapon you control. So this acts a lot like the bullets that we saw from Alchemical Revolution and MRC, where they are able to be loaded into guns to be shot, but now we're loading arrows into bows to shoot them. But we never had any bullets that started as an ally in play. that is just a really interesting new way of doing it. Now the Pride too, of course any class can hit it, so if you're playing this in a Ranger, Rangers are already usually rushing up in levels anyway, but the only Rangers that we're using right now are very gun focused, so it does make me very curious if we're going to start to see a couple new Ranger levels in this set that are going to focus on this new bow sub-theme. It's really exciting to see that. I love seeing the main deck bow. I love seeing the arrow that starts as an ally and then becomes an arrow to shoot with. And of course, it uses that same power stat either way. 3 power when it attacks and then 3 power when loaded into the bow. So this is actually going to be able to do a good chunk of damage. Very exciting for Water to get a little bit of aggressive power like this. But we'll just have to wait and see a little bit more as to where these bows and arrows are leading us. Let's move on to the final spoiler that you guys have been waiting to see. And for our final spoiler, I am proud to be able to show you guys the ultra rare Divine Relic from the set, Imperial Seal. Imperial Seal is featuring this incredible full artwork. Look at this thing now. This thing is gorgeous. It is a 0 cost norm regalia item, mage artifact, Divine Relic. You only have 1 Divine Relic in your deck at a time, and it has Banish Imperial Seal. All basic elements are enabled for you until end of turn. Fire, water, and wind are basic elements. So our newest Divine Relic is going to give you 1 turn of being able to use any elements that you want to. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see some things in Mortal Ambition that might make this a little more juicy to use, but this is a wild ability that you definitely would want to build your deck with it in mind to be able to use. The most basic thing that I can immediately think of to do with this is, well, I'm reminded of NA Nationals last year when Main Deck Taylor got absolutely trounced on stream by Lee playing his extremely cool Trisket deck using Erendite and Rending Flames to do a ton of damage. I like the idea of using Imperial Seal in a deck where your material deck is going to have the off-element cards that you are trying to activate so that you can ensure you will have access to those when you choose to set up an Imperial Seal turn. Keep in mind, you can set up the seal and then banish it any turn in the future, so you can kind of wait to get that set up and then use it to get a materialize that's off-element, and then maybe play other things that are off-element too. So that is certainly, I think, an interesting way to think about using this card, although pretty specific as we don't have a ton of elemental regalia yet. Or if 4 dungeon guides isn't enough for you, maybe you can put this in so that when you draw some Beseech the Winds, you can activate them in a non-wind deck to get an additional fast level up. Maybe the most realistic use case for this would be putting it in like a Merlin Prismatic Edge deck. Those decks are already running off-element cards that have floating memory, and are happy to keep hold of them just to be able to activate Prismatic Edge later in the game. But what if they replaced them with some cards that did a little bit more? Say you had a Wind Merlin deck that was going to go to Merlin, going to get a lot of levels anyway, but what if you wanted to put some Fireballs in the deck now instead to help you activate Prismatic Edge and have another kill condition towards the end of the game? Is that worth the Divine Relic slot? I think that is up to the player base to try and decide, and of course, our friends at True Champion Gaming, who are going to give this the most definitive rating that they possibly can. I look forward to seeing our friends at TCG's rating for Imperial Seal, and I'm excited to hear from you guys what you think about Imperial Seal and our cool water bow and arrow spoilers today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. What other use cases can you come up with for these cards? I'm certainly curious to know, and I'm excited to see the rest of Mortal Ambition to see how else they build this out to become more useful. But that's going to do it for our spoiler video today. Leave your thoughts down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to Main Deck for more Grand Archive and other great TCG content. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you guys in the next one.